We've had a hard time. I think it's been a challenge. And so it's not been fun.
In just a little bit of time, we have watched as Kody Brown's life has fallen apart on the popular TLC show Sister Wives. What once was a cheery, unique, polygamist family has quickly taken a dark turn as almost the entire family has turned on the famous Sister Wives' father, Kody Brown. What no one could have ever guessed, though, was the crazy twists and turns that the Brown family experienced that ultimately led to the downfall of Kody Brown. Although Kody Brown and his wives want the people to believe that their issues began as a result of the pandemic, fans know that that was not the case, and that the cracks actually started showing much earlier for the famous family. It all began in 2015 when Meri revealed that she had been having an emotional affair with someone on the internet who turned out to be a catfish. That catfish began to do really horrible things to her and her entire family. As a result, Meri was forced to come clean about the emotional affair with both her husband Kody and her fellow sister wives. It seemed as though Meri's emotional affair was a direct result of her legal divorce from Kody, because Kody and Meri legally divorced in September of 2014 when it was revealed that Kody wanted to adopt Robyn's 3 children from her previous marriage and that they needed to be legally married to do so. Although Meri claimed at the time that she understood the reasoning behind it, many believed that it was simply the beginning of Kody putting Robyn ahead of his 3 other wives and that it caused a lot of jealousy for Meri. After the emotional affair was revealed, Kody and Meri's romantic relationship has never fully recovered. Her only child with Kody, Mariah, is grown and lives far away from the family, meaning that Kody had no legitimate reason to stay with Meri once their romantic relationship had fallen apart. While many urge Meri to leave Kody once and for all, Meri still refuses, despite the fact that they have not had a romantic relationship in almost 7 years. Instead, Meri begs Kody to give her any attention whatsoever. While some of the wives have taken up an issue with Kody's strict COVID rules, Meri was eager to follow them, just for the chance that Kody would be comfortable spending time around her. Kody, on the other hand, has still made it clear that he's not open to reviving the romantic connection. It's left many people wondering why Meri even chooses to stay with the family in the first place. Kody even admitted recently that Meri hasn't been in his rotation of houses that he visits in years, since long before the COVID pandemic. Even still, Meri holds out hope that their relationship comes back, even going so far as to befriend Robyn in hopes that it will help strengthen her relationship with Kody. It's a sad sight considering that as Kody's first wife, Meri and Kody had one of the strongest romantic relationships of any of the wives before the legal divorce that led to Meri's emotional affair. The two were previously very in love with each other, but that couldn't be further from the truth today. And as for the rest of the family, the real drama began for Kody when the COVID pandemic began. Because the family is so big and spread out all over the country, Kody took extreme precautions at the beginning of the pandemic, asking everyone to quarantine and follow strict guidelines. Many months into the pandemic, both Christine and Janelle gave up on following Kody's guidelines for the sake of their children, and it began a war amongst the family. At first, it seemed that the entire family was willing to follow Kody's protocols. However, as the pandemic went on, it no longer seemed logical for the giant family. By fall of 2020, much of the world has gone back to work, gotten back out in the world, and tried to live life as normally as possible. Janelle and Christine and their children wanted to follow suit. However, Kody did not. He gave each of the wives a long list of rules that included things such as sanitizing the mail and staying 10 feet away from people at all times. Janelle was astounded by the list of rules. She was especially upset because she had asked for a list of rules months before that would allow the family to reunite, and Kody hadn't provided one. Christine was just as upset, saying that the rules were not realistic for the real world. Robyn mentioned that she didn't think the rules were that difficult to follow if it meant that Kody could be with her at her house. Meri agreed, saying that she was willing to follow the rules if it meant that Kody would want to spend time with her. However, it appeared that Janelle and Christine, as well as their children, were pointing fingers at Robyn for the strict rules, and it clearly caused the downfall of Kody and his family. At one point, Christine asked Robyn if they would be able to get together for Christmas if they followed the rules, implying that they were Robyn's rules and not Kody's. Robyn, on the other hand, pointed at Kody for the answer to her question. Things got even more tense when Meri made a joke about Robyn making up the rules, and Robyn revealed that some of her sister wives' kids had been calling Robyn and accusing her of keeping them away from their dad. She asked that all of the wives stop pushing that thought with the family, and it was clear that the rift between the family may never mend. Janelle and Christine seem to be over Kody and his rules. We now know that Christine has left the family altogether, but after Janelle's similar reaction to Kody's rules, many are questioning if Janelle is right behind her. Janelle's kids are unable to follow Kody's rules due to their jobs and school. When Kody asked her to pick him over her kids, she chose her kids, and he was not happy. It almost seemed as though Kody was angrier than he was losing control over his wives and his family than he was that they wouldn't follow his strict rules. Christine, on the other hand, told the family that she wouldn't be following the rules in order to do Thanksgiving with the family and would instead be traveling to Utah to spend the holiday with her kids who live there. It became clear that the majority of the family has turned on Kody, Robyn, and the crazy COVID rules. At this point, it's not just Janelle and Christine that have given up on the quarantine rules, but also their grown children. As a result, Janelle revealed that she and Christine had been defying Kody's rules and had been getting their kids together. But this wasn't the end of the drama for the family, because a big portion of the Sister Wives storyline over the last few seasons has been dedicated to Christine's daughter Isabel's back surgery. And after the surgery was finally complete and they were back home, Isabel really wanted to see her dad, who had stayed home due to his strict quarantine. Kody refused to see her because of the potential exposure, but everything came crashing down when Christine exposed something no one could have ever seen coming. Christine called out Kody for his hypocrisy, revealing that this entire time he and Robyn had a nanny coming in and out of their house every day to help take care of their two youngest children. Christine was outraged and wondered out loud what the nanny was doing that was so different from what she was doing in her own household that allowed her to see Kody and not Isabel. Christine explained that Isabel had not been leaving the house or seeing anyone, and that Christine herself was the only person leaving the house to go to the grocery store, but still, Kody wouldn't allow Isabel to visit. It was one of the most shocking reveals of nearly any Sister Wives episode, considering just how much Kody had refused to see the rest of the family in the months prior. The entire time, he was letting someone else into their house who didn't live there, but wouldn't let his own family in. After that revelation, it became clear that there may be no going back for the famous polygamous family. It seems as though the entire family has fallen apart and that Kody has no interest in repairing his relationships with any of his wives but Robyn. Since the nanny revelation, the world has witnessed Kody's downfall firsthand. Christine has left the family entirely, and Janelle may not be far behind. And as we all now know, Kody doesn't even have a romantic relationship with Meri to begin with. It may only be a matter of time before Kody's left with only one wife.
Decision was a long time coming, and I feel like a much better person divorced than I ever did. And life is so great. Like, I had no idea life could be simple.
Oh my god, guys, if you have been following along with the crazy Sister Wives family like I have, you know that Kody and Meri Brown have had an unusual marriage since their legal divorce. Well, on the last season of Sister Wives, Kody made it perfectly clear that there is no romance between him and Meri, that they are just friends. Things have been horrible between them ever since we found out that Meri was having an emotional affair with a catfish. So seriously, what is the deal? Why is Meri staying around in the marriage if she's not getting literally anything out of it? And especially with COVID, she isn't even allowed to be close with her sister wives anymore. Last week, we finally saw Meri and Robyn get together, who hadn't been together indoors for almost 9 months at that point. And as we all know by now, it's pretty clear that Kody only wants to be in a romantic relationship with Robyn over the last few years. And while Janelle and Christine seem to be realizing that over the course of the last few episodes, Meri has not yet gotten to that point. And now that Janelle and Christine are pulling away from their marriages, mainly Christine, because we saw in present day she left him, it's got people wondering if Kody will be forced to pursue a romantic relationship with Meri once again just to keep up this polygamous lifestyle that he's famous for. Well, in the episode from last week, it definitely seems like that's becoming more and more of a possibility in Kody's eyes. The sister wives have officially split into two sides: the wives who are willing to follow Kody's strict rules with Meri and Robyn, and the wives who are not with Janelle and Christine. And I am still so shocked just how badly the pandemic split apart the family, but it seems like it's only going to get worse and worse.
I love being a mom. I mean, I'm not a wife anymore, so I was fine, great, but really being a mom is my favorite role ever.
And although Meri and Robyn are now able to get together, Janelle and Christine, they both decided to go to Utah to celebrate Thanksgiving with all of their kids, rather than, quarantining for 2 weeks so that they could spend the day with Kody, Meri, and Robyn. And Kody was super upset that Janelle and Christine picked their kids over him, but neither of the wives saw a problem with it. Both the wives, Janelle and Christine, said that they would always pick their kids over Kody when it came down to it. And it really seems like their absence could absolutely positively affect Kody and Meri's relationship. During the Thanksgiving celebrations, Meri shows up to Robyn's house with a turkey, quote-unquote turkey, of her own. And although she usually makes the turkey, Robyn had asked to do it this year, and Kody was worried that it was going to start some drama between the wives. But instead, Meri had been playing a joke on the entire family. She revealed it was simply a turkey made out of Rice Krispie treats, which she made specifically for Kody because she knows how much he likes them, guys. The sweet gesture did not go unnoticed by Kody, and it became clearer than ever that he may be forced to reignite his romance with his first wife.
But I do recommend you find a soulmate. I do recommend that you find real passion. Somebody who wants to make you dance the dervish, that makes you feel vibrantly alive, that type of thing. Best friends are great, but I wouldn't marry my best friend. Even though in my marriage, I can be married to my best friend, you need to have a lot of passion in that marriage.
And this week's episode revealed even more cracks amongst the family, with Kody and Janelle's son Gabe getting into a fight about the strict COVID restrictions and about how it's tearing the family apart for good. And fans like myself were shocked when Kody didn't listen to anything Gabe was saying and instead reacted meanly and yelled at his son. Gabe even asked him to be vulnerable and express his feelings because they're on the same team, but instead Kody yelled at him about his mom Janelle and blamed him as well. Yeah, it's super clear, you guys, that the family is obviously falling apart, and it definitely seems to be due to Kody's ego. The family was able to put aside their differences when Janelle's mom suddenly passed away just before Christmas. Only Kody went to the funeral though, and then quarantined leading up to the Christmas so that the entire family could spend the holiday together finally. But at Christmas, it was obvious that the family may never be repaired. It all went down when Robyn's youngest daughter, Ari, was opening presents, and it was revealed that she didn't even know all of her siblings' names, referring to them as her or her. It was a sad state of affairs for the family that grew up very united. Kody even mentioned that Ari had forgotten a lot of her siblings because it had been so long since she'd last seen them.
I think that my cure has been worse than the disease, but that's just a personal thing. Struggling a lot. Second-guessing myself, which I probably shouldn't do at this point.
And in the preview for next week's episode, there were so many things happening that I don't know about you guys, but it felt like I was getting whiplash. At first, Robyn reveals that the infamous nanny, the only person who's allowed to come into their house, has tested positive for COVID. And this is especially hilarious because before, Robyn and Kody both swore that she was only allowed to come to their house because she was following their strict restrictions. Janelle, Christine, and Meri were not allowed to visit because of that. It definitely seems like that was a lie because she did catch the virus from someone outside of Kody's home. And as if that wasn't enough drama, guys, it was revealed that next week is the episode we've all been waiting for, when Christine finally leaves Kody.
I hope that Kody and I can still remain friends during all of this, because we've been still real high communicating with each other and stuff. I'm good at it, don't get me wrong. It's been, but like, we have a life still together after this because we have kids to raise, and Truly's 11, so we have to just be good and amiable and things like that.
It's been years in the making, and in this season especially, it's become clear that the two have absolutely no relationship left, and it doesn't seem like either of them are very upset about it. At the beginning of the preview, Christine explains that Kody came to her and told her that he no longer desires to have an intimate relationship with her. You guys, it's a similar conversation that we heard him have with Meri just a few years ago, except Meri didn't leave. She, kind of stuck it out with no romantic relationship with Kody, just to remain a part of the family. But however, as we all know, Christine does not go that route.
Becoming a badass is really it was an important step for me to make. I think I was talking to my mom, last year, and she was just saying you have to listen to your heart and then make a decision based on joy. But listen to your heart and really go deep into who you are as a person and then make that decision. And I'm like, yeah, but people are going to know my business. Anything that I decide to do, since I'm public, people are going to know. She's like, so? I'm like, she goes, so what? So what? Make a decision for yourself and go with that.
When he told her that, she told the cameras that she has no interest in being in a marriage without an intimate relationship. And it immediately cuts to a shot of Kody and Christine's garage where he found all of his belongings boxed up. You guys, he was as visibly angry that she'd packed up all of his stuff and clearly no longer wanted to be married. It seems as though he thought that Christine, I guess, would go in the same direction as Meri and stay spiritually married to Kody, even though that they have no romantic relationship. But, as we all now know, this is only the beginning of the drama for these two. Christine moved back to Utah just like she wanted to do, and things are only going to get crazier on TV from here. But still, you can't help but wonder what this means for the state of all of Kody's marriages.
Keep the no's, dump the plural marriage.
Now that Christine's left the family, many are questioning if it's only a matter of time before Janelle leaves with her. And even though she does say that she wants to stay in Flagstaff, it definitely seems like a possibility more than ever. Christine was always, her best friend in the family. They helped raise each other's kids more than Kody did, it seems like. And even when it came down to Thanksgiving, Janelle said that her kids told her that they would go wherever Christine was going, not their dad. And on top of that, tensions are higher than ever between Janelle's kids and Kody. And we all saw Janelle say that she was always, going to choose her kids over Kody. It's definitely not a stretch to wonder if Janelle will leave now that Christine, her best friend, did. That would, leave the family in an interesting situation. If Janelle and Christine both left the family, that only leaves Meri and Robyn left. And we all know that Meri and Kody haven't had a romantic relationship since at least 2015, you guys. So after they allegedly, got quote-unquote divorced and Meri fell into an emotional affair with a catfish. So all of this essentially means that Kody, one of the world's most famous polygamists, would be in a monogamous relationship with just Robyn. And while many fans argue that this is what Kody kind of wants anyway, it definitely would have a horrible consequences for his reality TV fame, not to mention his marriage to Robyn. It would be easy for TLC to kind of turn their attention away from Kody and onto potential ex-wives if they all were to leave him. Fans would be much more interested in seeing them rebuilding their lives than his relationship with Robyn. And although most fans argue that Robyn wants a monogamous relationship too, that came into question on last week's episode when she revealed to Meri that she doesn't like having Kody home all the time because she misses her space and breaks from him. So what would Kody do? Reconnect with Meri and rebuild his romantic relationship with her? That he's still, considered a polygamist? Or would he try to find a new wife altogether? Only time will tell as we watch all these crazy events unfold on our TV.
To make one thing very clear, I didn't follow the rules. I lied and said I followed them.
Oh my god, you guys, you will never believe what Paedon Brown just said about Kody and Robyn.
I've known it for most of my life. That is not the life I want to live. All power to anyone that does right. If you want to live for you, go for it. If you think it's right for you, go for it. I've known it's not right for me.
He's been completely trashing his family lately, especially his dad, Meri, and Robyn.
How does Meri or Robyn maintain a relationship with you outside of general family gatherings and holidays?
They don't, and I don't try to. It's something that goes both ways that doesn't go either way.
He even talked about how mad his dad was about the "What Does the Nanny Do" shirt that he wore.
He's attacking Robyn. I was not. It's a funny shirt.
Well, anyways, guys, I don't want to waste any more time, so let's just get into this. So for some reason, Paedon's just been doing a lot of interviews recently. He went on the Surviving Sister Wives podcast, and then he also talked to Us Weekly. And you guys, you'll never believe how much he's revealed. I mean, it is crazy.
There's some things I choose not to say. There's some things my mom has told me not to say. And I, out of love and respect and fear, I don't say things she tells me not to.
So the craziest thing I personally think that he revealed was how mad Kody got about the "What Does the Nanny Do" shirt. I mean, personally, I thought it was hilarious. He said that Kody doesn't even have a TikTok and wouldn't have even seen the video, but someone posted it on Twitter and then shared it with Kody, and he got into a ton of trouble for wearing it. But once again, who seriously cares?
Please don't let this get back to him. But after I wore a very specific shirt that said a very specific phrase, I was not digging at him or Robyn. A bunch of like, oh, he's attacking Robyn. I was not. It's a funny shirt. That's it. But after I wore that shirt, it really blew up. And Dad found out from Twitter. I don't have a Twitter. Somebody else took it from my TikTok and put it on Twitter, and he somehow found out.
I mean, first of all, his mom is the one who said it, and it's been one of the most quoted lines, from the season, so why wouldn't he wear a shirt to support her? And not to mention, he doesn't even watch the show, so how would he know the extent of the drama behind the shirt? But once again, Kody's taking, Robyn's side over everyone else's.
I do recommend you find a soulmate. I do recommend that you find real passion. Somebody who wants to make you dance the dervish.
Well, anyways, guys, speaking of the nanny, remember when it was revealed that Kody actually got COVID at some point?
I think that my cure has been worse than the disease, but that's just a personal thing. Struggling a lot. Second-guessing myself.
Well, I'm sure we all remember how the nanny exposed everyone to COVID after Ariela's birthday party, which honestly just made the Christine's question about what does she do even funnier. I mean, Christine herself even pointed out that it was ironic, and then she said that she just couldn't help but chuckle at the situation. Well, Paedon actually revealed during the interview that Christine didn't just say chuckled, she died laughing.
I giggled or I chuckled a little bit. I lied to you guys. There are a few lies. Mom did lie there. She died laughing. Along with the rest of her kids. We all died laughing, and when we found out, in the most respectful way possible, because he's my father and I do love him.
Well, anyways, I will give Kody this. It seems like he was kind of right to be a bit paranoid about his family and the pandemic and COVID and everything. I mean, we all thought he was a bit crazy and over the top with the restrictions, but it turns out that maybe he was right not to trust some of his family members in this, because Paedon revealed that he completely lied about his Christmas quarantine.
To make one thing very clear, I didn't follow the rules. I lied and said I followed them. Mom asked me, hey, before you come up here, I want you to test. I want you to test it and make sure. And I told Mom, I haven't been following the rules. I work, I hang out with friends, and it's important that I do so. Because if I don't hang out with friends for 2 weeks, I can't socialize or do anything for 2 weeks. I'm going to slip into some severe depression again, which is a bad place for me. So I told Mom, it's not happening. And she said, okay, are you coming anyway? And I said, yes, I'm coming anyway.
I mean, isn't that kind of just crazy? I mean, they made such a massive deal about, this on this whole show, and then he just straight up, admits that not only did he lie, but that Christine actually knew that he lied. So what happened was Paedon told them all that he quarantined so that he could go to Christmas, and I'm sure we all remember Kody's insane, over-the-top quarantine rules so that everyone could get together for Christmas of 2020.
Second-guessing myself, which I probably shouldn't do at this point.
But apparently, he also told Christine that he wasn't really going to quarantine, and when she asked him if he would come anyway, he said yes. So Christine knew the entire time, which, I mean, you can have your own opinion on. I just kind of think it's just hilarious that she knew he was lying and never said anything. And he also said that he got tested before going there for Christmas, so you got to give him credit for that. And that the day after his COVID test, which was the day after he was going to be there for Christmas, Kody called him and asked if he could get tested again, and apparently Paedon just lied to Kody and said that he got tested again, and he never really did. I really don't know what to think about this, to be honest, you guys, because I mean, it's like, I get on Paedon's side. Kody was definitely super overboard about this whole situation, this whole thing, but on the other hand, he might have kind of somewhat sort of had a point, I guess, considering that it seems like a lot of the family has kind of lied to him. But on the other hand, I kind of don't blame the family for lying, because Kody's rules were just so over the top and insane, and none of them were exposed to COVID until Robyn's nanny, exposed them all like a month later. So I just don't get why he's openly admitted to lying now. The whole thing seems kind of strange, but I really have no idea what he's trying to do. But either way, I mean, it seems like he and Kody really don't see eye to eye at all with anything. And Paedon also talked about how he wasn't happy with Kody at all, and with how, he wanted to kick Garrison out of Janelle's house. And apparently Paedon and Garrison are super close, and they've been best friends for the longest time, I guess. So it makes sense that he would stand up for him.
She wanted me to move forward in life, and living with her, not doing anything. I had a crummy job. I wasn't even going to school anymore. I was not progressing. I wasn't moving forward. I was maybe even moving backwards. I wasn't even standing still. And she said I can't come with her because I wasn't moving forward. She wants me to move forward, and so she had to tell me to go. And it was one of the best things she ever did for me.
And he did also point out that all of Robyn's adult kids still live with her, and Kody's there all the time, and he never says anything about kicking them out, yet he's kicking Garrison out, which does seem super unfair.
Dad had Dayton and Aurora, who are both adults, and Brienne, who is almost an adult, in the house that he mostly stays at. And
we noticed that, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Garrison decided he wants to live his life and has responsibilities legally and financially to other things.
I mean, Kody is as much Garrison's parent as Janelle is, or I guess he's, supposed to be, but you can clearly tell that no one really views him as a parent on the same level as the moms, and that really says a lot about Kody. Plus, the other thing that Paedon pointed out was how, Kody will refer to the kids as Janelle's kids, but then call some of the kids, our kids. So it's like, he's definitely talking about Robyn's kids when he does that. I mean, Robyn's, always come first, apparently. It's just not cool, I guess. And not only that, it's just kind of sad to see.
There was always a distinction, and he calls them Janelle's kids, and he calls mom's kids Christine's kids. He sees it in the same way. It was ridiculous. It was honestly ridiculous.
And there's some kids that get called our kids. We've noticed that.
And honestly, guys, I think it's kind of sad that he notices that. I mean, clearly, he and Kody have their issues, but they're also Kody's kids, and it seems unfair that Kody just so clearly displays this favoritism towards some of them, and it makes me feel kind of bad for him. I mean, Paedon, also talked about how he's not just close with Garrison, but also with Janelle, and he really seems to have a lot of love for her as he grew up really close with her. But the funny thing was, though, that when the interviewer was asking him about his relationship with Meri, his entire demeanor completely changed, and he said that he isn't even close with her, and he never really has been, and the same goes for Robyn, and apparently he's never even really tried to be closer to either of them, and they don't really try with him either.
You're not
Never
close
have
to
been.
her. Yeah.
Never have been.
So I don't really know about you guys, but I mean, it doesn't really surprise me that he's not close with either of them, but it's kind of a shame that they've, seemingly never even tried with him, I guess. I mean, don't you think? I just don't know how to feel about it. But that all being said, there was another thing, Paedon said that I really don't know how to feel about, because for some reason, he talked quite a bit about his parents', romantic sides, and don't you think that's kind of disgusting and gross? I mean, they are his parents, so why on earth would he ever need to talk about that? But either way, he said that, they've had these romantic issues from the start of their marriage, and I don't even want to know why and how he knows any of that. But he also said that his family's problems didn't start with Robyn, but that they were brought to the surface when she joined the family. And he said that, it wasn't a bad thing, but it was just what happened. But he also mentioned that it, wasn't really Robyn's place to talk about his parents' marriage at all, which I kind of do agree with. I mean, don't you guys? I mean, why should Robyn get to say stuff about Kody and Christine's relationship? It is just weird. So, anyway, speaking of Christine, he did say that when she finally kicked Kody out, the kids were all super supportive. They were like, "Go, Mom," which I honestly kind of find hilarious, because you can really see what they thought about Kody and their relationship when they say stuff like that. And another thing that he did mention, but he doesn't think anything has happened yet, was that Aspen has been trying to set up Christine on dates, and he also said that while Christine isn't likely dating yet, she apparently said that when she does find someone, she wants her partner to be close with Kody. But I don't really know about that, you guys. I mean, I don't really think that Kody will ever be mature enough to get along with her potential future partner. I mean, what do you guys think? Put in the comments below, but I just can't really see Kody being the bigger man here and being nice to him. I mean, I have a feeling that if it happens, it's going to go pretty south pretty fast. I mean, don't you guys agree? But anyway, Paedon also spent a lot of time talking about Robyn and Kody's relationship, and he has said some pretty major things that I just cannot believe he's putting out there. And one of the things that he actually called Robyn's, Kody's soulmate, and that it's a pretty bold statement to make. I mean, don't you guys think? I mean, considering that Kody technically still does have 2 other wives left, why would he call, Robyn Kody's soulmate? And with a polygamous family, what does that even mean? So, he said that Kody did love Christine, but that Robyn is clearly his soulmate, and that he's happy for him. And I don't really know what to think about that. I mean, I feel like that really makes it seem like Kody's only with Robyn now, but, what about Meri and Janelle? So, how do they even fit in? I mean, the thing is, we all know that Kody always takes Robyn's side on everything, but I feel that, with Paedon saying this, there has to be even more behind it. Like, it really makes me wonder what's going to happen with the whole family. There was just another funny thing that Paedon did say that I want to say real quick about Kody and Robyn, which really made me laugh, you guys, and I just couldn't believe he was so blunt about this. But anyway, when he was asked, he said he really doesn't want Kody and Robyn to have more kids, which, I mean, he literally said, please, no. So that was kind of hilarious, and he just went, from there. Well, anyway, guys, one thing I did want to get your guys' opinion on was when, Paedon was doing all these interviews in the first place. Don't you think that's kind of weird? I mean, he's not on the show. He's not really in the public eye at all. He literally said that he doesn't even watch the show. So why is he giving all these interviews? Is it because he wants to defend his mom? Or is he just trying to get some exposure with his social media? I mean, he is kind of pretty active on TikTok, so maybe that's why, but I just don't really get it because it's kind of odd to me that he's been doing so much so recently. Like, the last thing I wanted to mention real quick was that Christine's new cooking show, Cooking with Just Christine, just premiered on TLC's Facebook page. It's actually been getting a lot of support, which is, I guess, great for Christine. People are really hoping that this will lead to her own show about her new life on TLC. So they're giving the cooking show a lot of love and positivity, which is honestly great for her. I'm rooting for Christine too. Christine seems super happy in the video, which, makes me happy for her. Anyways, guys, that's all for today. And I mean, we got a lot of interesting gossip from Paedon, didn't we? I think we did at least, but put in the comments below. He's definitely, been saying a lot about everyone for some reason, and I still don't really understand why, but I do think he's just, said some pretty crazy things. But on that note, if you want to listen to the entire interview with surviving sister wives, or if you want to watch the full Us Weekly interview, both links will be in the description below. And honestly, you guys, I barely scratched the surface with some of the crazy stuff that he said, so you'll definitely want to check them both out. But what do you guys think? Why do you think he's giving all these interviews? And what do you think of some of the weird stuff he said about Robyn, being Kody's soulmate? I mean, do you think it means anything? I mean, let me know what you think in the comments below.
I don't actually like it when he talks about other relationships to other wives.
Guys, if last week's episode of Sister Wives proved anything, it's that Robyn is the villain of the Brown family. We've all watched her continue to tear the family apart over and over again over the years, and this time it seems like, you guys, it's finally falling apart for good. So as the Brown family falls apart, more and more secrets are now being revealed about things going on behind the scenes that no one could have ever guessed. All of the secret reasons why Robyn has destroyed the Brown family dynamic over the years. So guys, I don't want to waste any time. Let's just jump right on into this one. Well, on this past week's episode of Sister Wives, everything Robyn and Kody have been trying to control with the family since the beginning of the pandemic just came crashing down. It all began with Ariela's birthday party. If you guys don't know, Ariela is the youngest child of the Brown family and Robyn's daughter, and after they were all tested negative, they decided to throw her a birthday party with the entire family, and it was a huge difference from just a few weeks before when the entire family was forced to follow Kody's crazy strict rules to avoid getting COVID.
And I don't even know what to say about that anymore. I think that my cure has been worse than the disease, but that's just a personal thing. Struggling a lot, second guessing myself, which I probably shouldn't do at this point, but it's been a long 2 years with this whole thing, almost 2 years.
And when they were reading the rules, they just couldn't believe it. He was asking the family to wipe down everything that entered the house and quarantine for 2 weeks and just a lot more. So Janelle and Christine agree that that wasn't realistic for their kids, considering that they both, work outside of their house, but they all decided to do it so that they could celebrate Christmas together. But that seemed to be non-existent when it came to Ari's birthday. So instead of Kody's strict rules, they all just had to test negative. And the wives seemed glad that the family was returning to normalcy somewhat, sort of, and then it all came crashing down. So throughout the pandemic, Robyn has only allowed one person into her house, and that is her nanny. This was a huge pain point for the other wives, obviously, who were not allowing outside people into their home whatsoever, and who were not allowed into Robyn's home.
I have little kids, and so I kind of just had to run my will with Kody's with whatever he decided, and just do what he was doing because that's the only way my little kids would be able to see him.
A few of the wives and their kids even insinuated that Robyn was to blame for the strict rules, not Kody, making this exception she made even crazier. So that's why it was especially insane when Robyn's nanny tested positive, you guys, for COVID, just a few days after the entire family had gotten together for Ari's birthday. So yes, you heard that right. The one wife who was supposedly keeping the family apart was the one who ended up exposing the entire family to COVID. It just doesn't get much more ironic than that, you guys, but it might get even crazier because someone on Reddit questioned whether or not the story was even real. Did the nanny actually get COVID, or was this just Robyn's attempt at keeping the family apart for even longer? Ugh, it's crazy. And it's a great point to bring up, you guys, because we've noticed for years that Robyn doesn't seem to be, want to be in this polygamous family, some could say, even though she said that the opposite on an episode a few weeks ago. She doesn't can't seem to get along with all of the wives, and all the tension has only gotten worse since the pandemic. Since it's January of 2021 on the show, she's had almost an entire year of Kody to herself and of not being able to get together with the other wives and their kids. It's interesting that as soon as they let their guard down and get more comfortable hanging out again, Robyn is suddenly exposed to COVID by the one person that they let into their house. So obviously, this caused Kody to backtrack and update his rules or whatnot, which was very upsetting to the other wives. But was it to Robyn? We can't talk about this episode without bringing up the elephant in the room, Kody and Christine's divorce. Now, obviously, they didn't really get divorced because they were only spiritually married, but this was the episode where things officially fell apart for them, and weirdly enough, it seems like it all just points back to Robyn once again. When Kody and Christine are discussing the state of their marriage in their separate interview, Kody mentioned that their problem started 12 years before. And you guys want to guess what happened about 12 years before? That's when Kody's relationship began with Robyn. So when you look back at the time in their lives, it's not good, and honestly, it's pretty shocking. In their book, all of the wives talked about how taboo it is in their religion for a married man to have a traditional courtship with a new potential wife. Instead, most of the time, the husband will just have a very short courting period, and he's not allowed to do anything physical with the potential wife until they're married, and that includes kissing. Janelle and Christine followed those rules very strictly, you guys, when they were dating Kody, but Robyn, can you guess what she did? She did not. Christine especially had spent literally almost no time getting to know or dating Kody, and their marriage suffered for it at the beginning. So you can only imagine how upsetting it was for her when Kody started dating Robyn, and he wasn't following the rules that he followed with her at all. Kody had no problem kissing Robyn before marriage, and they were constantly going on dates before they got married. He even went so far as to have his older children babysit Robyn's children so that he could take her out. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think that's pretty, number one, disgusting and disrespectful to his family and other wives. But of course, it's Kody Brown, so obviously it's gonna be disgusting. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. You can't blame Christine for getting jealous about that. Their relationship was horrible at the beginning because they hadn't dated or gotten to know each other, and all of a sudden he had no problem ignoring their religion so that he could date Robyn like he didn't have, 3 other wives. Now, even though it wasn't explicitly said, it's interesting that Kody's willing to admit that their problem started when Robyn came into the picture. Christine was a little more open about the fact. She outright said that her daughters have had a hard time seeing their dad favor other wives and their kids over their mom and themselves. So obviously, we all know she's talking about Robyn. Kody doesn't favor anyone as much as he favors Robyn either, keep in mind. And that became even clearer a couple episodes back when Kody had to travel to Utah for Janelle's mom's funeral. In the episode, Kody decided to attend the funeral and then quarantine for 10 days so that the family could still celebrate Christmas, and this meant that for the first time over the course of the entire pandemic, Kody was staying away from Robyn and her kids for 10 days. Now, it's pretty insane when you think about the fact that this was the first time he was going to spend a large amount of time away from them. Meanwhile, none of his other kids have spent almost any time with him throughout the pandemic. Now, Robyn said something about it that I personally thought was completely tone deaf about the entire situation. She said that Ari was really struggling with being away from her dad for 10 days, you guys. I mean, come on. She said that even when he goes to the other wives' houses for 2 days at a time, she has a hard time with it and misses him so much. But I mean, it's like, does she not realize that the rest of the kids have been forced to stay away from their dad for almost a year because of her and Kody's strict rules? Now, in the same episode, Janelle's son cried to Kody about how much he misses him since the pandemic started. It was kind of a crazy contrast, if you ask me, to Robyn's comments. And although Robyn is currently being dissected as the family villain every week, many people don't realize that her distancing of the family has started years before. There are signs of her, manipulative behavior towards Kody and all the other wives from the very beginning. As we all know, Meri was Kody's wife, making her his only legal wife. They actually seemed to have a pretty great relationship at the beginning of the show, but that all took a sad turn years later, but no one really knows the truth about why. Robyn and Kody asked Meri to legally divorce Kody, we all know this, in 2014 so that Robyn and Kody could legally get married. At the time, they said it was so Kody could adopt Robyn's kids from her first marriage, and while that was definitely likely a part of it, It's pretty interesting to me now knowing that she's his legal wife because she's really the only one who's in a romantic relationship at this point. And after Meri and Kody divorced, Meri was clearly very upset about it. In one scene from that season, she told Robyn that the divorce was done and was very emotional, while Robyn just, kind of blew it off. So just a few months later, Meri began an emotional affair with a man online who turned out to be a catfish. We've all seen it. When the affair was finally uncovered, it completely broke and just ruined and ended Kody and Meri's relationship. And while Meri's always gotten the blame, it's hard to really recognize that Meri may not have been feeling so vulnerable had she not been asked to legally divorce Kody. I mean, you cannot blame her for feeling rejected after that entire mess. Now, these days, Meri seems to be the only sister wife that Robyn has a relationship with. It seems like Janelle and Christine have realized just how manipulative she is, and that her goal seems to be, to be a monogamous relationship with Kody. Of course, even though she says that's not the case and she married Kody because she wanted the big family that comes with a polygamous marriage, it's hard to see that that's the truth when her actions are the exact opposite. And even though this episode was filmed a year ago, just about now, it doesn't seem like things have changed that much today, because Robyn and Kody were recently seen in two pretty interesting places. Number one, first they were seen at Victoria's Secret. Allegedly, Robyn was returning some, undergarments, and allegedly Kody and Robyn even stopped and posed with fans. None of the other wives were anywhere to be found. And then just a couple days later, Kody and Robyn were seen on a one-on-one date at a restaurant. Before, they all used to go on dates together. We've seen it on the show multiple times, so why is he now just taking Robyn out to dinner? If we know anything about Sister Wives, it's that time and time again Robyn is shown as the villain. Maybe she is. To me, she kind of is, but hey, maybe she isn't. It definitely seems like she is a little bit more manipulative towards the entire family, but maybe it's just the editing. Hopefully we do get to see, some answers on this week's tell-all episode, but rumor has it that Robyn doesn't feel comfortable answering very many questions. Phew, you guys, I can only wonder why.
If it's not working for them, they can leave. Nobody's going to be a prisoner here.
Oh my god, you guys, Kody completely lost his mind on this week's episode of the Sister Wives tell-all. For real, it was so painful to watch. He was so defensive, and the reasons why were completely bizarre.
I'm not in a place where like I say, hey, I'm divorcing you. I can't do that. However, any one of them I feel like can.
So guys, I don't want to waste any time. Let's just get right on into this one. This was by far one of the weirdest episodes of Sister Wives that I have ever watched. I mean, you can tell that Kody is definitely officially completely losing it.
I do recommend you find a soulmate. I do recommend that you find real passion. Somebody who wants to make you dance the dervish.
I don't know why I thought he'd be a little bit calmer and a little bit more apologetic about how things went down on this season of Sister Wives, but wow, you guys, I couldn't have been any more wrong. This is definitely the worst we have ever seen him and Robyn, but I'll get more into that in just a second. So it's a three-part tell-all, and this one was definitely focused more on Kody and Christine's relationship, but that doesn't mean that Kody and Robyn didn't completely lose their minds on camera, because yes, oh my god, you guys, they did.
This is not right. This is not fair.
So first, let's take it back to last week. Most of it was strangely focused on Kody and Meri's marriage. I'm not so sure why, because it was just a lot of rehashing stuff out from the last decade. It didn't seem super necessary, but there was one moment that completely shocked me, even for Kody Brown. At one point, Kody tells the interviewer that there's a double standard in their religion because he is not allowed to leave his wives, but they are allowed to leave him whenever they want.
Hey ladies, nobody's a prisoner here. If you don't like where you're at in this family, figure it out, make your choices, you're free. And my wives were offended by that. They were like, well, you got to try and get rid of me?
So the interviewer asks Kody if that's really the truth, because if he hadn't physically left them, he had emotionally abandoned them. And Kody freaked out more than I have ever seen him freak out before that I can ever remember. He started yelling at the interviewer to take the word abandon back, and he wouldn't continue until she had.
Coming up, there's a scene where I'm with my four wives, and I am very angry.
And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that seems a little bit defensive when we can all clearly see that that's what has happened. And he said that with Meri in particular, he did not emotionally abandon her because she abandoned him when she had the affair with the catfish. I mean, is he serious? Anyone with eyes can see that the reason Meri, in my opinion, had the affair with the catfish was because he had emotionally abandoned her to be with Robyn. I mean, it literally all started when they legally got divorced. I mean, how could he be so ridiculous? Does he think that we can't put the two and two together? He was so manipulative in both of these episodes, it honestly made me sick, and it only got worse from there.
Struggling a lot. Second guessing myself.
Because in this week's episode, Kody and Robyn were both in rare form. It began when Kody was telling the interviewer that Janelle had more of a duty to him than she does to their children together. And I don't know about what you guys all thought, but I thought it seemed pretty narcissistic. And it became pretty hypocritical on top of that. And he even said that because Janelle's sons wouldn't follow his rules, Janelle should have kicked them out because they're over 18. So Janelle isn't required to provide them with shelter anymore. I mean, it just makes no sense. Can you imagine saying that about your own kids? He acts like there's, random children that he's never even met before. And the funniest part about the entire thing is that Robyn still has kids over 18 living in her house too, and Kody and Robyn never seem to mention it, and he isn't telling Robyn to kick them out. So after this all went down, Kody tells the interviewer that his relationship with Gabe and Garrison is almost completely non-existent, and he said that they barely talk anymore, and when they do, it's just not really friendly. And he even mentioned that they need to get into therapy to repair their relationship. So it seems to me that a lot of this could have just been avoided if Kody had just listened to his kid's point of view from the beginning instead of getting so defensive.
I'm like, this is all, and I'm in this mood, terrible mood, about how I feel like they really don't care to be in a relationship with each other.
I mean, I really don't blame either of the boys for not wanting to have a relationship with Kody. I can tell you, I personally wouldn't want to either. He is so insanely mean to them, and he does it on national television, so can you really blame them? And Janelle even goes so far as to say that several of his children are currently at odds with Kody because of how strict his COVID rules were. I mean, I can't even imagine how many of the kids are upset with him that don't appear on the show anymore. So now you guys, here's the interesting thing. This tell-all was filmed on November 8th, 2021, and that's an entire year after this season was filmed. So that means that over the course of the last year, it seems like Kody has made zero effort to repair his relationships with his family members after putting so much distance between them during the pandemic. And yet, he still gets defensive and acts like the victim over the course of this entire episode. So I mean, honestly, you guys, there were times over the course of this episode where I was wondering personally if he was having a mental breakdown. He just seemed like he's that far gone.
If you don't communicate, your marriage can't survive usually. At least mine haven't.
Even when he tries to talk about how he loves his kids and wants them all to live at Coyote Pass, he turns it back into how he's the victim because they don't have the respect for him. I mean, is he serious? Why can't he ever take responsibility for himself and his actions? If his kids don't have respect for him, it's probably pretty much related to how they've watched him have very little respect for his non-Robyn wives over the years. I mean, don't you guys agree? And I mean, who talks about their children like they're the victim? It just is so odd. So I feel like he spent the entire episode screaming about how he had been betrayed and belittled by everyone in his family, and this episode was filmed before the season aired, so maybe he didn't know how he would come across over the course of the season, but wow, he really needs a reality check. And weirdly enough, one of the people who stood up for Kody the most and really had no reason to was actually Christine.
So I think that perspective is a crazy, crazy thing. And I think we all have a tendency to look back and see something different than the other person.
She explained his reactions and actions over the course of the season way better than Kody did during this episode. She explained why she thought that he was feeling certain ways about the choices she and Janelle were making. And on the flip side, Kody just got defensive and yelled about how it wasn't his fault. So I don't know about you guys, but Christine was probably my favorite part of this episode. I mean, she seems to be in an amazingly great place. For all of Kody's craziness and accusations, she stayed cool and calm and collected, and it just kind of seems like she's so much happier not being stuck along with his drama. She definitely seems at peace with the decision that she made to leave the family.
Life is so great. Like, I had no idea life could be simple. I didn't know it could be simple. And I was asking Mykelti, I'm like, is life simple? And she goes, yeah. And I said, you married, life is simple? She goes, yes, life is simple.
But one person who does definitely not seem to be at peace with it, though, is Robyn.
Yeah, I've always felt like we struggled to communicate effectively.
But I honestly don't know if it was real, if it was just for show. So Robyn went off on a tangent about how Christine and Kody weren't technically divorced because it hadn't been recognized in the eyes of their church yet. And I personally found it completely hilarious because isn't Robyn the same person who always says that she won't speak on the other wives' relationship? So now all of a sudden she has no problem telling the world that Kody and Christine aren't actually divorced?
I don't actually like it when he talks about other relationships to other wives. I think that there should be lines of privacy.
But for what it's worth, it sounds like that means nothing to Christine or Kody, only really to Robyn. Christine dropped a bombshell that she was not a part of the family's religion anymore and hadn't been a part of the family's religion for many, many, many years. This was crazy news, obviously considering that Christine comes from one of the most prominent families in their religion. But Kody, on the other hand, said that he's fine with the fact that she's not in the religion anymore, and he honestly doesn't seem too concerned that the divorce hasn't been, quote-unquote, recognized in the church yet. Like he said earlier in the episode, he's not allowed to leave his wife, so the fact that he isn't fighting any of this most likely means that he wanted Christine to leave on her own. And I'm not sure he wants the same for Meri, but she chooses to stay for some bizarre reason. I predicted at the beginning of this season that she was going to leave, and sadly, you guys, I was wrong. So I will admit when I was wrong, and in this situation, I was definitely wrong. At one point, he even mentions that. He said that what Meri's doing by staying is not enough for anyone. So why won't Meri just leave? She always says that she feels called to stay in the family. Why, I really truly don't know. But then Kody got upset that Janelle and Christine are so close. I mean, you guys, I can't even make this stuff up. Gabe says that he was raised by Christine just as much as he was raised by Janelle, and Kody says that that is a negative thing. I mean, why? Because they're excluding Robyn. And I'm sorry, you guys, but how much can Kody and Robyn try to portray themselves as being the victims here? It honestly doesn't even make any sense. Janelle and Christine raised all of their children together from the beginning. They became close friends because of it. Their kids view them both as their moms. That should be a very positive thing. And at the beginning of the show, they all said that that's why they chose plural marriage in the first place. But then Robyn comes along and wants to be included, which I understand, but how do she and Kody not realize that it's going to be a different dynamic? She joined the family many years later and raised her kids separately from Meri, Janelle, and Christine. So the dynamics are always going to be at least slightly different. It's not going to catch up to the experience that Christine and Janelle have. But now Kody wants everyone to see them as bullies because they didn't include Robyn into the friendship that they had with each other, I guess. So, I mean, it's just like, what is this, middle school? I'm sorry, but how dumb does he think we are? We can all very clearly see who the bullies are from watching the show, and it's not Janelle and it's not Christine, at least in my opinion. And how horrible of him to say that what Gabe views as a positive of his upbringing is actually a negative. I mean, I haven't been a fan of Kody Brown for a very long time, but wow, I really just cannot stand him after this episode. And one of the biggest bombshells of this episode came from Robyn. I kind of enjoyed how the interviewer just let her talk to see what she would say because wow, she said some pretty interesting stuff. She finally admitted that she's the only wife that has a romantic relationship with Kody. Kody himself said that he and Janelle, who is technically his only other wife left besides Robyn, don't partner well. For some reason, Robyn took it upon herself to talk about the family dynamics before she even joined the family. Why? I really truly don't know. She wasn't even there. She was talking about how Kody felt about that time. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't think that's really her place, especially because she always claims that Kody doesn't talk about his other relationships with her. If he doesn't, why would she know about how he felt during that time? And she also said that she's begged and begged to have a relationship with the other wives and the kids, but have we watched her try at once? I mean, come on. So I feel like we've only ever watched her cry about being the victim for the entire time this show has been going on. She doesn't seem to want to be a part of the family. She just wants to cry about how she isn't. Janelle pretty much said the same thing at one point when she said that there was a lot of history behind the scenes that went into whether or not she wanted to work on creating a closer relationship with Robyn. So I don't know about you guys, but I would love to know what the history is. I can't even imagine all the craziness that went on behind the scenes during the first few seasons of the show. It felt like almost all of the last 10 minutes of the episode were dedicated to Robyn crying and talking about getting involved in the other marriages and trying to persuade Kody to have better relationships with them. I mean, I'm sorry, but what? Didn't she just spend this entire last season saying that Kody is Kody and he's going to make his own decisions and she gets no say? She pretty much just admitted that what we already thought, that Kody does whatever she says. So I don't know how much crazier this last Tell episode could get this week, because this one was pretty dramatic and honestly it was hard to watch. As interesting as it is watching their family dynamics play out, I don't think any of us could have guessed that it would be this stressful to watch. So, wow, I gotta take a big breather, you guys. It was absolutely insane. We finally got what we've all been waiting for, the Sister Wives Tell-All. And after the craziest season in Sister Wives history, it seriously didn't disappoint at all, because it revealed what we've all been waiting 17 seasons for. All of the wives have left Kody except for Robyn, and you'll never believe everything else they revealed, and this was only the first part of 3. So don't get me wrong, there were a lot of aspects about the tell-all that I wasn't a huge fan of, and I think if you watched it, you'd probably agree with me. I get why they do all the interviews one-on-one now, but I also think we miss out on a lot of conversations that could have happened, like all of the wives calling out Kody for his blatant lies. I mean, this guy is really full of it, and will he ever learn? I don't even know where to start with him, and I think the most logical part to start is probably with Meri, his first wife. He really likes rewriting history when it comes to her. He made so many wild claims about their marriage, and it's like he forgets that we've all watched his life play out on TV for the last 12 years. He actually claimed that at one point he wanted to reconcile with Meri, but the only reason that he didn't was because Christine threw a fit and told him not to, and now we haven't heard what her response was to these claims, but Meri pretty much acknowledged that there was no way that was true, and I honestly couldn't agree more for a million different reasons. First of all, this time that he's referring to what was filmed on the show, and he said that Meri made him Rice Krispie treats for his birthday, and that he was so touched by the gesture that he told the other wives that he wanted to reconcile with Meri, which, first things first, if that's all it really took for Kody to reconcile with Meri, I think she would have made him about 10 million Rice Krispie treats by now, because we all know that she has always wanted to reconcile with him. He was the one in the way. But anyway, this was literally filmed as an episode of the show, and there's literal footage of Meri gifting Kody these Rice Krispie treats. So do you really mean to tell me that this entire exchange happened, but they just happened to not catch him on film telling your other wives that you were going to reconcile with Meri, and Christine throwing a fit about it? Because I just really can't see that happening. If anything, that sounds like a much better episode of TV than just watching Meri give Kody Rice Krispie treats, and I'm sure the producers of the show would have thought the same. And this all brings me to my next point. For years, all of the wives and Kody himself have claimed that Kody is not one to be swayed by his wives. Obviously, we all know that that's not the case, because Robyn very clearly does sway him often, but I don't think we've ever seen him, be swayed by any of the other wives, and especially not Christine. So I just really can't see a world where Christine would have any veto power about the state of Kody and Meri's relationship. And don't get me wrong, I do think it's possible that Christine could have gotten upset that Kody was willing to invest more into his relationship with Meri, a relationship that had been clearly over for a while, than he ever was willing to invest into his relationship with Christine, a relationship that was still struggling. But I don't think she would have tried to stop a reconciliation from happening, and it honestly just brings me to the biggest point of this entire thing. Didn't they tell us for years that none of the wives got involved in any of the other relationships? I mean, they made a point to say that none of the other wives knew what was going on in the other marriages for years, so assuming that that's true, I don't really think that Christine would have gotten a say in the state of Kody and Meri's relationship, and it sounds like Christine's going to say exactly that in the next episode of the Tell-All. And if you can believe that, that was only the beginning of this mess. Kody really dug himself in a hole here. He was rude, demeaning, and just all around insufferable. and we've seen him in rare form over and over again over the years, and yet I still don't think we've ever seen him act this horribly. I mean, at one point he mimicked a dog panting to describe how badly Janelle and Christine wanted to marry him, and I mean, give me a break. He also accused Christine of being a game player, which was honestly kind of hilarious because he said that she was always throwing temper tantrums, manipulating and pouting, and I don't even know if I've ever seen Christine do that. But I've definitely seen Kody's only remaining wife do all those things, and I think I finally figured it out. I think Kody and Robyn are using Christine as the Brown family scapegoat, and remember how Robyn said that that's what, her mom calls her, and the truth of the matter is that Christine is actually the person Kody and Robyn choose to blame for all of the family's problems, and even though that's clearly not true, I mean, they have no problem rewriting history, and Kody blamed Christine for so many issues in their marriage, and Robyn said that Kody's only attracted to wives based on their behavior, so pretty much, if they're obedient to him, he likes them, and is that really what she's going to tell herself about why the other wives' marriages failed? Because if it is, I have some bad news for her. But anyway, at one point they get into the infamous clip of Kody saying that he doesn't want to consider himself married to Meri anymore, and I think I speak for all of us when I say that we've been waiting to see her reaction to this clip all season, and it definitely didn't disappoint because first, she called him out on his hypocrisy for saying that Christine couldn't just say she wasn't married to him anymore while he did the same thing to Meri, and then she confirmed that she does now consider their marriage to be over, and while she didn't outright say it, everything from her response to the clip to how she talked about Kody told me that she was officially done with him. And every other time that we've seen her talk about Kody, she usually defends him, but this time she laid it all out there. She said that she called him on their anniversary and he asked her why she was even calling him in the first place because they're clearly not married anymore. And then she said that she asked him if they should make a statement about their marriage being over, and she actually said that he told her that he didn't want to because he didn't want everyone judging him for having 2 failed marriages, so instead he had her look like an idiot for years while we all wondered why she was staying. And isn't that just the most Kody thing you've ever heard? I mean, he had no problem with people judging Meri for staying in a loveless marriage for so many years, as long as it meant they weren't judging him for having 2 failed marriages. And that story is honestly the main reason why I think they're done. If Meri had any interest in protecting him still, she never would have told that story, and it obviously makes him look horrible. And not only that, but it breaks the whole illusion that he wanted to hide behind in the first place. Clearly, she's finally putting herself ahead of him, and even though that she said that, she'd still be open to reconciliation if he was, it is definitely clear that their marriage is over, which means that it's official. Everyone's marriages are over with Kody besides Robyn, and since we know that Janelle and Kody are separate from the tell-all preview, the only one we were still waiting for was Meri, and even though we didn't get into any of the Janelle and Kody separation drama yet, I'm sure the next 2 episodes of the tell-all are going to be crazy as we watch the last 2 pieces of the Brown family unfold, and I think we can all agree that it's about time.
Things just really became sort of indifferent. Like I just didn't care anymore.
I don't know about you guys, but I was seriously confused by where they left things at the end of the 3-part Sister Wives tell-all, and it got me wondering what's actually going on with this family since this was filmed.
I won't go to a place where I'm not respected because love doesn't matter to me. Respect matters to me.
I mean, who is still together, who's not? They seem to talk around everything rather than actually saying what was going on, and the tell-all was supposedly filmed in September of 2022, so that got me to do some digging, and it led me to finding out some pretty crazy things about the family's lives since then. But I don't want to waste any time, so let's get into it. So let's just go right down the line of the wives in marriage order. First, we have Meri.
That's where we are. Don't you think that we should address that publicly?
She has honestly shocked me the most out of any of these women. She and Kody released an entire statement about the end of their marriage, and it sounds like it was written entirely by Kody in my opinion. So it said, in light of a recent unapproved press release, we feel compelled to share our own truth in our own way and in our own timing. After more than a decade of working on a relationship in our own unique ways, we have made the decision to permanently terminate our marriage marriage relationship. And during this process, we are committed to kindness and respect toward each other and to all members of our family. And we are also committed to continued healing of any kind in all relationships within the family so that we can move forward with forgiveness, grace, and love in kindness, Meri and Kody. So if you're wondering what unapproved press release that they're talking about, well, they're talking about how People magazine reported that their marriage was over because they said it was on the show.
I don't even know why you called me Meri. He's like, we're not married. We're not acting as married.
Meri wrote her own caption on Instagram that Kody didn't include in his own post, and she accuses People magazine of lying. And I think we all saw her confirm that the marriage was over, and she even said that the only reason that they hadn't made a statement confirming it is because Kody didn't want to.
Yes, we're separated. Pretty stupid for people who love each other, huh?
And because he didn't want to be mocked for having another failed marriage. And it's sad that after all this time, Meri is still falling for Kody's gaslighting. But anyway, Meri's own caption on her Instagram seemed a lot more like something that she'd actually say. She wrote, "In the months since the taping of those interviews, Kody and I have had many open and honest discussions that have led to our announcement today. There is so much more to be told about the story, and I assure you my truth will be told. But for now, know that there is peace in my heart, and I hold no animosity towards Kody. I am not, and I pray that I never will be in a place where I will enjoy making or seeing you make rude and demeaning comments about him." But that's really just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to her caption, because then we have my favorite part of the entire statement. "You will likely have a range of emotions and opinions at this news and want to offer comments, and in doing so, please be considerate of the fact that we are real people with real lives and real emotions, and please try to refrain from congratulating me at the breakup of my marriage." And I'm sure you're wondering why this is my favorite part of the statement, and it's pretty simple.
It's not unraveling,
easy, Christine.
Huh?
It's not that easy.
No, it's not.
It doesn't just look different.
Because we all saw Meri sarcastically say, "What am I supposed to say? Congratulations, you're leaving the family," when Christine decided to leave. And now, just a few months later, she's in the exact same position and asking for people not to congratulate her.
It just doesn't make sense to me that he would be so frustrated with Christine and be like, she just made this decision.
And it's just too ironic. But anyway, while this statement obviously confirms a lot of things that were left in a gray area on the tell-all, Meri's actually let even more slip, because the other day she was on Instagram Live and had people questioning if she's already in a new relationship. And she mentioned that she had company over the night before and that they were still there the next morning. And it was pretty interesting wording, because she specifically said they and didn't specify if it was a man or a woman friend or what the situation was. And one possibility is that the company was Leon, Meri's only biological child, who uses they, them pronouns. But Leon lives in Denver, which is 11 hours from Flagstaff, so it seems pretty unlikely that they'd travel that far for an overnight trip. And the next theory is that it's a new boyfriend or girlfriend, which I think is pretty obvious. And then the final theory, which I personally think is most likely, is that it was just one of her friends that's constantly hanging out with her. Meri keeps a lot of friends around her, so it would make sense if it was just a friend that came to visit. But anyway, let's keep going on with the other wives. Next we have Janelle, and unlike Meri, we haven't gotten any statements from her or Kody confirming the end of their marriage, even though they both confirmed on the tell that they are separated. And if I had to guess, they're probably still in that limbo, mostly because Janelle made it pretty clear that she didn't think she could divorce him entirely due to her religious beliefs. And even though she said that she's much happier being separated from him and never wants to be in a marriage with him again, but we do have some other pretty big updates with Janelle, and that's that I think she might have actually gotten something out of Coyote Pass, because I was really worried for her that she'd have to leave the family with no financial settlement, which is honestly insane considering that she was a primary breadwinner for the family for years. I mean, she worked for decades and cashed out her 401k to pay off Robyn's debt, and all this time she had nothing to show for it, but now it seems like we might have proof that she got something, but not nearly enough in my opinion, because Robyn and Kody recently took out a $130,000 loan on their mansion in Flagstaff, and for a while everyone wondered why they would need that money so badly, but now that Janelle's gone, you almost have to wonder if they used that money to buy her out of Coyote Pass. And if it was to pay Janelle, I'm glad that she got some type of financial settlement out of leaving this family, but she honestly deserves way more than $130,000 after everything she contributed over the years, but who knows, maybe that wasn't the case. But either way, her name is on a portion of Coyote Pass, so if Kody and Robyn still want it, they're going to have to buy Janelle out. But I'll get into what's going on with Coyote Pass in just a second, because the really crazy update with Janelle, in my opinion, is that it seems like absolutely nothing has changed with the boys and their relationship with their dad. After all this time, their fighting started in 2020, and it doesn't seem like it's changed at all. Janelle went to North Carolina to spend Christmas with Maddie, and all the boys stayed home, but they didn't see their dad. Garrison and Gabe posted a picture with Paedon and their cousin on Christmas, making it very clear that even though their mom wasn't in town, they still weren't going to spend the holiday with their dad. So if I had to guess, they haven't made any changes over the last few months. And after Kody's behavior on the last part of the tell-all and what he said about his sons, I don't think they're going to want to do anything with him at all. And next we have Christine, and we all obviously know by now that she's been living a happy and carefree life away from Kody for more than a year, but she recently made some pretty big announcements. So first of all, she has her own interview set in Salt Lake City now, so she won't have to drive back and forth to Flagstaff all the time to film for her interviews, and this will obviously save her a ton of time considering it's an 8-hour drive, but it also means that she won't have to see the rest of the family nearly as often, and she seems to be thrilled about that development, and she's even poking fun at her polygamous background, and she made a joke on Instagram recently about her hairstyle looking like a freaking polygamist, and I'm glad that she's able to, laugh at her previous life now, and I honestly hope that all the wives, or rather ex-wives now, can get to that point eventually. And lastly, that brings me to Robyn and Kody, and we obviously don't know much about these two since they've completely disappeared from social media, and it seems like Kody only appears on Twitter when he wants to make a statement about divorcing another wife, and literally he was fairly active on Twitter before his divorce announcement with Christine in November of 2021, and then he disappeared entirely except for one retweet in March of 2022, and then he announced his divorce from Meri this week in January of 2023, and he's only using social media for divorce announcements these days. But the biggest thing that's going on with Robyn and Kody that we know of, in my opinion, is Coyote Pass, because supposedly the family has a weird type of loan on Coyote Pass where if it's not paid off by 2023, they'll lose the land completely, which means that they'll all get screwed out of the money that they've put into it so far. And don't get me wrong, I have no idea if that is true or not, mostly because I don't know if it's possible for loan records to be made public in the first place, but if it is, that means that the only financial investment that both Meri and Janelle have left could be taken away from them with no monetary compensation in return, which means that they could literally be forced out of the family with no money. And I personally think that they're going in this direction because according to the tax website for their county, they didn't pay the taxes on Coyote Pass in 2022, and so you have to wonder if they're planning to just abandon it and lose out on what they had into it, which seems absolutely insane. But it also seems like it's going to be equally as difficult to find a buyer for all that land before they allegedly lose it in 2023. But what do you guys think of all this? Are you shocked by any of it? And were you as confused by the tell-all as I was? You guys will literally never believe this. I have the biggest news ever. Christine Brown finally has a new boyfriend. Yes, for the first time in her entire life, Christine is in a monogamous relationship. So I don't want to waste any time. Let's get into this. So this all started a few days ago when Christine posted a video on her Instagram story, and she said that she is dating someone exclusively and that he's wonderful and romantic and so kind and everything she's been looking for. He's incredible with Truly and that he's a dream come true. And she also said that she's excited to share everything, but right now she's keeping him to herself. And it seemed like that's kind of the end of it, right? Well, actually, that couldn't be further from the truth, because I think I figured out just who this guy is. So it took some digging, but all of the signs are pointing to one guy in particular. And first, to try to figure it out, I went to Reddit, and I figured that someone there would know Christine's new boyfriend and would be spilling all the details. And I've got to say, I wasn't disappointed. Now, don't get me wrong, this is Reddit, so we obviously have no way of knowing if any of this is even true, so take it all with a grain of salt. But supposedly, someone saw Christine and her new boyfriend at a gas station in Salt Lake City, and pretty much all they said about him was that he was bald. And I don't know if that comes as a shock to anyone after she was married to Kody, who was literally obsessed with his hair, and it's probably a nice break to be with a man who's comfortable shaving his head. But I kept digging around, and I found some people who claimed to know him personally. And again, we literally don't have any way to confirm whether or not this is true, but according to the Reddit user Loose C Bull Bluff 11, her new boyfriend is a grandpa, and he has a lot of grandkids, and he loves Disney, but he has some similar politics to Kody, in which we all know Kody's politics have gotten a little out there since COVID. But still, I was determined to find out just who this guy was, so I looked at the people that Christine follows on Instagram, and she only follows 115 people, so it was pretty easy to sort through. And right there at the top was a man named David Woolley, and his account didn't reveal much. It's a private account. He has 11 posts and only 155 followers, and his profile picture is a picture of a car, so I couldn't even confirm the bald guy theory that one Reddit user commented. I mean, we really have no way of knowing if this is the guy. For all we know, he could just be a guy who works on the show or something along those lines, and according to Gwen, the whole family is pretty close with the crew, so it's definitely possible. However, there are a few hints that might prove that he is Christine's new boyfriend. First of all, like I said, Christine only follows 115 people, and when you go through everyone she follows, it's mostly family members and people she's worked with because of sister wives, like, Suki from the Tell-Alls and just things like that. And she does follow a few men who she doesn't seem to be related to, but they all have a profile picture with their wives in them, so obviously those are not the men she's dating. And literally, the only man that she follows who she doesn't seem to be related to and who doesn't have a profile picture with their wife is this David guy. And plus, when you look at the list of people she follows, he is at the top, and almost like he's the most recent person that she's followed. So I decided to do even more digging, and he doesn't seem to be on Facebook, so I couldn't confirm that he's a grandpa with a bunch of grandkids who likes Disney like the Reddit user commented, but I did notice that his Instagram username seemed to feature his initials, so I googled David P. Woolley in Salt Lake City, Utah, because you have to imagine that her new boyfriend lives in the same city as her, right? And again, for all we know, he could just be a guy that works on the crew for the show and has nothing to do with Salt Lake City, and I didn't find much about him, but I did find one piece of the puzzle that might be pretty important. There's a company in Utah called David P. Woolley Drywall, and it's registered in Salt Lake City. And again, I just want to reiterate, we have absolutely no way of confirming this, but it seems extremely possible that this is her new guy. And I know we're all super curious and want to know just who this guy is, but I think that right now the most important thing is that she's happy, and she does seem very happy, and we'll find out who he is eventually, either from her social media or from the show. And I think the really big moment that we're all waiting for is seeing Kody's reaction to her new boyfriend. And I don't know about you guys, but to me, that's going to be a way better moment than finding out who the guy is. And I also don't know about you guys, but a part of me is a little worried about her. I mean, I'm sure that she can take care of herself, don't get me wrong. And I mean, we've all watched how she navigated that horrible divorce with Kody and how badly he treated her, but I do worry about her because of how sheltered she's always been around relationships. She was only 19 when she married Kody, and that was never a monogamous relationship, and she came in as a third wife, which meant that they barely had a courtship or dating period. And because they literally weren't allowed to, and they didn't even kiss until their wedding day out of respect for the other wives, and Kody's even admitted that he wasn't in love with her when they got married, and then she immediately started having kids, and this is her first monogamous relationship and her first time experiencing falling in love with someone who loves her equally. And I honestly just hope that he's a good man and that he isn't taking advantage of her fame and that she isn't falling for someone who could treat her badly, and I'm sure she isn't, but it is scary to think about how sheltered their religion kept her for so many years. And then you have one really strange piece of the puzzle, and that's just that a week ago she was posting about dating as though it was something that she had just started. and she definitely didn't make it sound like she was getting close to dating anyone exclusively. And if you missed it, she posted a few pictures of herself on January 29th, so literally just last week, with the caption, "I'm dating again, holy HE double hockey sticks, awkward, dating online is crazy, any advice for dating at 50? So I don't know about you guys, but calling dating awkward does not seem like something you'd say if you were close to being exclusive, you know, with someone, and things should just be a lot more comfortable by that point. So I honestly just hope that everything is good and that she's not getting taken advantage of, because I think, you know, we all can agree that we only want the best for her. And who knows, maybe I'm just reading too much into the Instagram post, but the timeline just doesn't make sense to me at all. But what do you guys think? Were you as shocked by Christine's big announcement as I was? I honestly still can't believe it. And do you think that everything I uncovered is actually her boyfriend? I guess only time will tell, and it'll probably only be a matter of time before we hear all about it on Sister Wives. But one thing is for sure that I think we can all agree on. I hope he's absolutely nothing like Kody, and I can't wait to see Kody lose his mind about it on the show.
Well, I didn't do this to you. I didn't do this. Why are you this way?
It seemed like Kody and Robyn had finally gotten what they wanted when all the other wives left.
I just don't know why they're not figuring this stuff out.
Jamila and Meri and Christine were hard on Robyn.
But now it seems like everything's falling apart for them.
I'm a man of wives with no wives.
From fighting to money issues, now that there are no other wives to blame everything on, you'll never believe why these two are allegedly on the outs. So let's break it down. In a lot of ways, Kody and Robyn were basically a monogamous relationship even before the other wives left, especially during the pandemic. It was really just the two of them that whole time, but now they're actually all alone, and it seems like this has caused some pretty serious issues in their relationship. There have been rumors about the two of them falling apart going around for ages now, and from the sounds of it, the reason for all their issues might be that now they don't have any scapegoats left in the family. Before all the other wives left and Kody fell out with a bunch of his other kids, there was always someone to blame for all their problems, and Kody and Robyn always acted like they were the innocent ones, like they were the ones who were the victims, and it was them against the rest of the family most of the time, and they had so many different family members to choose from when it came to putting the blame on someone else, and whenever they faced any kind of issue or felt unhappy for some reason, they just blamed it on one of the other wives or the kids, and that way they were able to stay in their little bubble of happiness and maintain the illusion that things were going great for them. But now all of that's gone, and if they have any problems, they don't have anyone else around to blame, and allegedly this has led Kody blaming Robyn for pretty much everything. And a while ago, a source close to the family did speak out, and they said that Kody has been treating Robyn horribly and telling her that she's the reason that the family fell apart, and he's apparently been saying that she should have done better and that she should have worked harder to keep the family together. And to be fair, Robyn was definitely part of the reason why the other wives left, but for Kody to put all of it on her, I mean, that is just crazy. He's to blame just as much as she is, if not more. And I mean, you know, they were his wives and his behavior drove them away. So the fact that Robyn didn't help is one thing, but if Kody treated all of his wives better and with respect, well, it all might have ended up a little bit differently. And Robyn and Kody are also clearly having financial issues, which might be another reason why they're at odds right now, because it was recently reported that they paid off Coyote Pass, so at least they're not going to lose it like it was rumored. I'm not sure that it's actually helped their situation, because, I mean, what are they actually going to do with it now? Like, the plan was for all of the wives to build houses on it, but now that there are no wives left, I feel like the best thing that they could do is just sell it. And if they sell Coyote Pass and their huge mansion, they could move into a smaller house and save some money that way, which could really help their financial situation. But I don't think they'll be able to do that, because who actually wants Coyote Pass? It's a ton of land in the middle of nowhere that isn't buildable, and they literally got a good deal on it because of that. So I don't see anyone wanting to buy it in the first place, and I can't see Robyn giving up that house. And so the question really is, where did they even get the money to pay off Coyote Pass in the first place? Because it's been reported so many times that the two of them have been living well above their means for a while now, and they're basically just losing money all the time. And this is because of their huge mansion, but also because of all the other stuff that they don't need, like having a nanny helping out with the kids kids. And as far as we know, Robyn still is not working or even looking for a job. So, they have all of these expenses piling up, but just Kody's income and what they get from the show to cover it. And this might be another reason why they're on the verge of splitting up right now, because I would think that Robyn is not happy with the current situation, and there's no way that Kody is happy with Robyn not financially contributing to the family at all, and he was fine with it when the other wives were there to pick up the slack, but now it's just the two of them. So I feel like it's very likely that they probably turned on each other about this too, and someone on Reddit also pointed out another reason why Kody and Robyn might be fed up with each other right now, and that's when the other wives were there, they weren't just scapegoats, they were also there to make Kody and Robyn's relationship more exciting. And Robyn is obviously Kody's newest wife, and they've been together for a while now, but I feel like the novelty was probably still there for a pretty long time, and this person on Reddit pointed out that it's possible that Robyn and Kody found their relationship a little more exciting when it felt more like an affair, but now the other wives are gone, so they can't be sneaky about their relationship and prioritize each other over the others or anything like that, because it's just the two of them now, every day, all day long. So the novelty's probably completely worn off by now, and I honestly think that it's probably a huge part of their issues right now. I mean, they've allegedly been spending a lot less time together, and Kody was even seen in Las Vegas a while ago while Robyn was at home, so it really does seem like, to me at least, that they might be fed up with each other at this point. And one source close to them even said that divorce wasn't completely off the table for them, and that if their marriage wasn't going to turn into the one that Robyn had with David, she wouldn't be sticking around for that. But how likely is it that Robyn and Kody will actually go through the divorce? I mean, like I said, Robyn does not work. She's basically never had a job, so it's not like she can just up and leave Kody and be done with it. She needs someone to take care of her financially and pay for all of her ridiculous expenses, and I could see her leaving if she had a backup plan, like another man who would pay for her, but I also don't think that is, very likely to happen. So does this mean that she won't actually be pursuing a divorce? Well, here's the thing. She might still go through with it, because chances are that she would get some money from Kody if they were to split up, and that's because she actually is his only legal wife, so she's in a better financial position than Janelle, Meri, and Christine were, at least when it comes to getting stuff from Kody. But as far as we know, she's got her name on Coyote Pass and the mansion too, so she wouldn't actually be left with nothing, although she would still probably have to get a job eventually, which I don't think she's willing to do at this point. But then again, with how things have allegedly been going between her and Kody lately, maybe she'll reconsider. I honestly don't know how they're going to deal with all this, because it seems like they might genuinely be getting sick of each other, and Robyn always used to say how much she enjoyed her alone time whenever Kody was away visiting the other wives, but now that aspect of their relationship has changed, and Kody doesn't really have any other places to go, which Robyn probably hates, and he probably does too. And Robyn said years ago that she liked being a sister wife because she could get all the stressful things done around the house when Kody was at the other wives' houses, and then they got to be in the honeymoon phase when he came over, and it's safe to say that, those days are now over, that he's living there 24/7, and I feel like if he's at the house more often than he used to be, that Robyn might be asking him to help with the household a little more, and I just can't see Kody happily doing chores, which is another possible reason why they might be falling apart. And it really just seems like they're finally realizing that their relationship isn't as perfect as they thought, and they're allegedly turning on each other, and I'm not sure if they can fix this. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they were truly done. I don't really see a way out of this for them unless they find a new wife or something like that, but then, what would they do? Would Kody treat her like he treated Meri, Christine, and Janelle, or would Robyn become the secondary wife? Because at this point, they're allegedly not doing that great, so maybe Kody would actually prefer his new wife, although who knows, maybe they would just treat this new person as their scapegoat and go back to being happy together. But what do you guys think? Do you think Robyn and Kody might actually be done, or do you think that they'll stick it out together? Guys, let me know in the comments down below.